Professionals.
We got this. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Hello, people of the world.
And we're live in the other room. I can hear it.
Love it.
All right. So, yeah, welcome. I'm just going to take a peek really quick. We've got 11 viewers on YouTube.
Heck yeah.
And Instagram, we're cruising right now. All right. So, if you just caught the visual album of With Us, was kind of special for me to watch with a couple close friends. I'm really grateful for my buddy Matt Curran Creative, who worked really hard on that footage. It's absolutely stunning. And so yeah, that was awesome to just kind of sit and take that in. But now we are live with my homie Parke Cottrell, or as his name implies on Zoom, Ali Cottrell.
I meant to change that. Whoops.
Just leave it, bro. Just leave it.
Just leave it.
So yeah, we're live on both right now. So if you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. If you're watching us on Instagram live, welcome. We're going to be on here for just the next like 20, 30 minutes, just chatting it up, talking about all things the new record With Us. So Parke, to start, I have a question for you.
Hit me with it.
It's very, very deep, very important. I
have a very deep answer waiting.
We're jumping straight into like the heavy hitting stuff right here.
Oh, good.
So what is your absolute favorite Southern cooking meal?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is blast from the past for me right now because because my mom, she hasn't made it in a long time. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a skillet chicken cornbread casserole thing. Like it's almost like a deconstructed chicken chili that's baked into cornbread. So it's like a cornbread loaf. Or okay, actually, here's the better way to describe it. She never gave it a name. I have no idea if she made it up or if it was like a passed down recipe. But
it sounds like possibly Colonel Sanders made it up.
Potentially. Imagine a chicken pot pie, but instead of pie, it's cornbread, and it's more like Southern, almost slightly Southwestern tasting, like just like maybe this much.
I'm ready for it right now.
When I turned 16 or something, she was like, whatever you want to eat, I'm making you something. And I was like, can you make me that cornbread chicken thing? And I just remember being stoked out of my mind when she made it. I mean, not that I was thinking that she was going to tease me and be like, actually, no, I'm not going to make it for you. But I'm going to say that.
That's amazing. You know, what's funny about that? So my son Maverick, he's 5, and his favorite meal on the planet, you would think the McDonald's cheeseburger, but alas, that is second. His first favorite meal on the planet is my wife's chicken pot pie, as he calls it, chicken pie pie.
Oh, chicken pie pie.
Like he literally jumps around the house screaming whenever she tells him that she's making that for dinner.
That's awesome.
And it is truly delicious. But well, thanks for enlightening me on that.
Okay, now I need to ask you a question.
Okay.
What is your, I'm not even gonna say favorite, I'm gonna say, what is your, go back to when you're in high school, what was the guilty pleasure, either song or album or even artist? And I'll give you an example of what it was for me.
Yeah.
I kind of had a thing for Hilary Duff's solo, her like solo stuff.
Yeah.
Let the rain fall down and make my dreams, let it wash away my sanity, cause I wanna feel it. I mean, I just couldn't get enough of it. I would literally, with whatever download platform that I had at the time, whether it was Napster or Bearshare or Kazaa, if you remember those, I would search for Hilary Duff tunes, burn them onto a CD, and those would always be the loudest tracks in my car. So whatever the equivalent of that is for you.
I mean, I don't think I can find an equivalent for that.
Fair enough.
That is the guiltiest. I'm just calling you out right now in public.
Good.
I So when you said that, my first immediate thought was not as much musical. Actually,
Mm,
no, okay, it is.
here we
When
go.
you said Hillary Duff, obviously thought process then trailed to Lizzie McGuire, which trailed to Disney Channel every day at 4 o'clock was Even Stevens.
Oh, right.
Like I had it basically, I knew just my day was planned around it. And what that meant was I would literally count down days until the Even Stevens movie would come on,
Mm-hmm.
and it would happen once every like 2 months or something like that on a Disney Channel original movie. But I would just like calendar it all for that moment when they played Surf's Up Dawn Patrol,
Dang.
because I was both into surfing and into Even Stevens and into music. That's not both. That's three. That's three things. And I was
Both of the three.
both of the three. I was 100% obsessed with that and would listen to it all the time, just like surf music, surfing, which incredibly inaccurate, but I was living in Ohio at the time, so who could tell?
That's chill. That's chill.
And Even Stevens, like it was all my favorite things. So that's my guilty pleasure.
I love it, dude. That's fantastic.
So that's our icebreaker, ladies and gentlemen. Parke Cottrell. I keep
Here we go.
wanting to say that as if people are going to applaud. If you could just like throw some emojis or some in the chat on YouTube. If any, I forget how to do this on technology. I told one of my friends earlier that's here, they're like, so how did you like link up this and that? And I was like, well, let me tell you something. I tripped and fell, and all this stuff just happened because this is how bad I am at technology. Okay, so question that I have for you, because I want to kind of jump now out of our guilty pleasures and favorite soul food into all things the new album. So album released today. We've been working on this thing for how long, dude?
I mean, the better part of these last 6-7 months. I mean, it's been well, okay, so I think it's actually been 6 months because it was roughly a month after my band got taken off a tour because of the pandemic, which was March.
Yeah.
And you sent me an email at the beginning of April, and it was mid-April that we actually started rocking and rolling. That sounds about right.
Okay, so that's what I want to talk about. Rewind a little bit. I want you to tell me kind of your perspective. First of all, what was leading up to like us getting connected and making music? Like what happened? I mean, obviously both of us were affected by the pandemic and all that different stuff. Tell me what that process was like from that point until when you like finally posted on Instagram.
Yeah, so I had, what was it? October? No, it was November of last year. Wow, a year ago, almost exactly. November of last year, I had the opportunity to produce the very first like project. I'd never produced anything before. Some friends in California, they're a dope band called Rory.
Yeah, Rory's awesome.
They're awesome. They all, I mean, California Road said they surf. You were talking about surfing, and I was thinking about Rory because they actually released a tune today.
I saw that.
Yes, which it's funny because all the tunes that we worked on last November are actually kind of getting pushed. Like we recorded an album and they were getting ready to like release all of that. And then the pandemic happened and they were like, oh, wait, maybe this isn't the right time. And so then they had got some acoustic stuff in the back, like in their back pocket, and had already started writing some other songs. Anyway, before I get it too far on a tangent,
That's crazy.
Working with them, I was like, oh man, I really like producing. I want to do this more. Don't really know exactly how you like, how do you do that? How do you get people to know that you're interested in working on music with them? And so I was like,
Yeah.
suppose like posting a video on my Instagram would be like one way. And I kept putting it off because, and my wife will tell you that she had been encouraging me to just post a video, just post a video. You don't have to have like all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. Because what I was worried that if I didn't have like a website set up, as well as like audio samples of stuff I've worked on, as well as like I had this laundry list of things that I was like, if I don't have these things
Totally get
to
that.
go with it, then people are not really going to take me seriously. And she was like, bull crap. Just go for it. Make a video, tell people that you want to work with them, and you'll be surprised. And I was very surprised because I was not anticipating the amount of responses that I got from people. So one of those responses, bingo bongo, was Senior Tanner Smith, who hit me up. Am I good to go onto this portion? I didn't know if there was
Dude, just keep going where you're going, man. I'm tracking with you.
I can just talk all night, man. I've been working outside on my studio and haven't been able to like talk. And my goodness,
Eating some cornbread chicken stuff.
and that cornbread pie. So Tanner hits me up. I see this email and I'm like, also, so it's known. Anytime that I would see an email pop up on this, this Gmail account that I had kind of linked, like been telling everybody that was interested, that saw the video on Instagram, I was like, hey, send an email with your inquiry to this new email address that I created. So it's all compiled. And anytime I would see an email, I would be, number one, dumbfounded of like, wow, more people actually want to work with me. I kind of thought that I would maybe get like 2 bites and then like, I'd post another video 1 month later or something like that to try and get more excitement. So Tanner's email comes in and it was very clear before I even finished reading the whole email that I was just going to work with him, because he was like, all right, Park, I've made music in the past. I've got a little situation right now where I really want to make a scriptures
situation. I like that.
right. I really want to make a scriptures album that's like sonically and also thematically centered around peace. And he went on to tell me about situation with his son, and having to have brain surgery. And literally, I read, I forget how you worded it. It was either brain surgery or brain tumor in the email. And I remember just reading that and I stopped because I think Allie had walked in the room and I was like, I'm going to work with him. Cause you'd said, like, I don't really have much of a budget. Like, here it is. This is all that I can do. Anyway, I think it would be cool. Like, let me know. And I just remember not even having heard any of your demos. I was
dangerous, like, my man. Dangerous, well, right there.
Sometimes you get a feeling, and that I just got a really strong feeling of like, this is something that not only, well, here, let's be honest, everybody. The fact that I just threw it out to the world, hey, let's make music, knowing in the back of my mind, I can potentially like capitalize on this. Like, it's a tricky thing to like, I was anticipating people reaching out with music that I wasn't really into, which didn't really happen. I'm going to be honest with everybody. Which
thank goodness, yeah.
But at the risk of sounding like, or making it like an awkward conversation, I wanted to have what happened with your email is like the thing that I wanted. I wanted there to be this, like, out of nowhere. I was not expecting someone with their son having a brain issue to reach out to me. Like, that's a story. Like, there is a narrative to that. And yes, we worked together. You paid me a little bit of money, but like, all that I really was wanting was to pay homage to you and to serve these songs and to serve your narrative in the best way. And it was, it's funny because I just got that feeling instantly reading halfway in the email. I was like, we're going to do something special. Like, I just know it, not even hearing the music. And so being very, very pleasantly surprised when you started sending me demos, I was like, this is going to be really easy because Tanner already has a really clear vision, and what he needs are, skill sets that I have. And I was stoked that you had the guts also, Tanner, to like, you it's a vulnerable thing to show someone a song that you've written, especially when it's either unfinished or just like it's a naked song, like just you and vocal or you and piano. So it was as I'm rambling now, everybody.
No, dude, you're great.
It was just the first demo, which I think that you sent was Matthew 11, right?
No, dude, that was actually the last. I sent you some trash at first, I think. I probably sent you. Oh, that's right. Dude, I probably sent you some electronic version of Psalm 46. Maybe like a totally different sounding version of Psalm 23. But
He had like, you had several different versions of several of those songs. Regardless, it was not trash, ladies and gentlemen. What he sent me at first was like, oh wow, this Tanner knows melody. Tanner appreciates scriptures and is also like, making them singable. And it was very clear, like he knows what he's doing. He has done this before. He is an artist, and so it just felt it felt like you laid out the red carpet for me in terms of what we had to get done. And then it was cool. He's in Houston, Texas. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and the fact that we're in this day and age, specifically during the pandemic, are able to like postal service each other back and forth. You could literally send me a vocal and guitar track, and then I can record a bunch of instruments, send it back to you, and you're like, hey, that's cool. This sucks. That really sucks. But this is really cool. And then we just kind of make it work. And it was everything that I was hoping, when I first posted that video, like this was the kind of project that I was hoping.
See, my perspective on that is very humorously different.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so like I haven't released a record in 7 years. And when I did release something back then, I was a younger man. I was 23, I think, and was about to have Maverick. And but even back then there was this like, it just I had written a ton of songs, but had never thought like, oh, I'm gonna make a record, because there was no dire need. That's what's always like inspired me to release something. These 2 times, I say always, has been like, oh, I have to do it right now. So at that point, it was because I wrote a record called Death and Life, in an EP, and it was because like people were just literally getting terminally ill all around me, and I was just like, we don't have any songs in my church to sing for this. Fast forward to this, I'm sitting in the parking lot, like waiting for a phone call from my wife, like, hey, is Maverick's good? He's not good. Here's what they figured out, didn't figure it out. And I'm just am sitting there like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell God right now. And so all I can do is like keep praying the word please over and over, and then listen to songs that are just like scripture. And so we get back home from that. Maverick did great. He's awesome. I mean, it was a rough recovery. We had so many people pour out so much love and grace on us. But I just sat down at some point after that and was like, I want to write some songs like this, because I know what that did for me. And I want to like, I feel like the world needs that. And then of course we're all in like a global freaking pandemic. So I'm like, well, this is obviously the time for this. But I didn't think to myself initially like, oh, I'm going to release these songs. I was just like, I want to write some of these songs. And so I sat down, started doing that. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if these are any good. I need some help. I was like, these songs are like babies, and I need a co-parent. I need a mother. I need somebody to mother these children. Or maybe I needed any of the analogies breaking down. I'm not even going to go there. So I like reached out to a couple, like a producer and like a couple different people, and just like, man, I have no, like, it's funny, you say like I had all this vision and stuff. I felt like, dude, I don't know what I'm going or what I'm doing, but I need some help. And all of a sudden I'm cruising on Instagram and your video pops up, and you're just like, I want to help. And I was like, did did he hear me? Like, what's going on? Is my phone? I knew that Facebook targets ads around what people say. And so
It's true.
anyways, I was like, well, there's no way that I'm going to be able to work with Parke, but I'll just shoot him an email anyways. And so I was like, forget it. So I shot you this email, and it literally, I think I put in one of my posts this week that it was like, I felt like I was just firing an arrow off into the dark. Like, let's just lob this one up and see what happens. And to my surprise, your email back was like, yeah, we're doing it. And I was just like, what? Like, because they were rough demos, man. I don't know what you were hearing. Providence was blinding you from it, but when you were like, no, we have to do this, I was just like, wow. I felt incredibly, just the weight of an incredible gift. And from that point until now, I have not stopped feeling that. Like, I have not stopped feeling like a gift. Nothing but a gift was just dropped in my lap. So we start tracking. I'm going to pass this back to you. The next 7 months, we're working on a record together. What was it like? I mean, obviously, since you're in Nashville, I'm in Houston, we're like, I'm sending you demos, you're sending me stuff, I'm sending it back and forth. But there were a few twists and turns along the way that like really redirected the process. We went from recording a couple, songs, and at first I think I sent you 3 or 4, to a 7-song visual album with a common thread and theme, gapless, like all the songs running together. Like, what happened?
So we started earlier you mentioned that like there were multiple versions of these demos. Honestly, the timeline, if you recall this, Tanner, the first demos you sent, I think I was working on maybe some other projects at the time, so I was like balancing, trying to like finish those while also getting to your songs, and kind of was jumping back and forth a little bit. And so in some of those down days, weeks, maybe a week or 2 at a time, you would have sent like, okay, here's these 2 songs, and then like 3 days later you sent me a different version of the second song, and you're like, hey, I've just been kind of messing with it, this could be crap.
I was like, don't listen to that first one, it's terrible. Here, listen to this one instead.
And you I think 3 of the 7 songs you had sent at least 2, if not 3 versions of, which was honestly, from my perspective, it's like, that's just more fuel. Like, it wasn't, even though some of the versions were like really different from each other, it was like, well, it wasn't clouding any kind of vision. It was more like, okay, so number 1, this guy can, go outside of the box as far as genre goes and instrumentation, and because Tanner's really talented, everybody. He can play several instruments, and he knows how to record himself well. So yes, exactly. Take it in. This is your day, Tanner.
I wasn't fishing, but I like what I caught.
It was a largemouth bass, just to set the record straight.
It was crappy.
So anyway, like multiple versions of songs, it didn't hurt the process. It only helped it, because it was like, oh, okay, we can take this idea from this version and drop it into the main structure of the first idea, or things like that. We were just kind of picking and choosing, and it was a lot of fun. And then as we started, kind of ramping up, gaining some steam, I think we had probably gotten to, I think it was before 5 songs were like officially finished. We were kind of getting close to like 4 or 5 songs being finished. And I kind of just had this thought of like, okay, what would it look like if, okay, actually now I'm remembering kind of the timeline a little bit better. Midway through the whole process, you had already started thinking about track list order. And we had kind of honed it into 5 songs. And it just so happened that track, in your, at least at that time, and is what it is on the album now. Track 1, Matthew 11 and Isaiah 43 but those two songs happen to be from God's perspective, and the middle the middle tracks were from like your perspective, our perspective, God, human perspective. And so I remember noticing that one day and thinking like, okay, is there something to like how can we lean into that even more? And then just kind of, I don't know if it was me or you, and just in some conversation, like we kind of had this epiphany of like, maybe there's connector songs that link it all together.
I remember that actually very clearly. You were driving somewhere. You had like a couple hour drive, and you called me, I think, or something.
Yeah.
And you were like, Tanner, I just had this thought. What if I feel like I could write books off of what if, like that's where the magic happens, And you were like, what if the songs had more, they were strung together in some way. Like, can you think of a common theme that runs through them? And I remember giving you two themes that I felt like ran through them, but I don't remember what the second one was. All I remember was the one that I was like, or, this idea that like from the beginning of time and for all of eternity, God's like simple chief desire is just to be with us. Mm-hmm. And you were like, I think that's the name of the record.
Oh, that's right. Okay, hold on. I got to interrupt you because this is where it took a really personal spin for me. So when you said with us, and it'd be really cool if Damon or Leah Kelly happened to be watching this. Damon was my high school pastor.
Shout out! We got all kinds of comments happening. Let me just.
Oh
see.
Man, I haven't even been looking. Dang it! I can't even see where the thing is.
Yeah, you can keep going, but lots of friends on here. Hey, everybody! So glad that you guys are chilling.
That's
with us.
Awesome. I need to probably. Oh, I can just click on this view stream. Oh, see now, I should have been doing this whole time.
So there's those on YouTube, and then on Instagram there's a ton of them as well. Anyways,
that's tight. So anyway, Damon, he actually served communion at Allie and I's wedding. He's been my mentor for several years. If ever you meet Damon, you'll remember him by his voice and also by the fact that when he's talking to you, you can rest assured that that he's laser focused on talking to you. Like sometimes people can be a little like wishy-washy or like get distracted really easily. He's like actually a very similar quality to how the Switchfoot guys are. When you are talking to any member of that band, they are just looking right back into your eyes.
You're the rock star.
Like,
yeah, they look at you like you're the famous one. Like you're the one who is worthy of the interview or autograph or whatever you're there for.
Dude, totally. So back to Damon and with us, him and his wife, they both served at our church for many years, just amazing people. And one of the things that they just harped on all the time is that exact same thing. Like they talk about with they talked about it all the time. I mean, legit, if I could sum up Damon and Leah Kelly in one word, it is with. And to expound on that, with is really encapsulating God is with us. And so when you started riffing and you're like, yeah, from the beginning of time with us, and it just like, it was kind of selfish for me because I was like, let me hitch onto this horse that Tanner is that the phrase, hitch on the horse? Whatever, it sounds right.
I have never heard that before, but it might have been somewhere deep inside of your corn casserole chicken.
Let me hang my. No, we're just going with it. Let me hitch
the horse
onto that horse.
I'm gonna hitch on that horse though. When you're done hitching.
No, so it just like it struck me. It was like deeply nostalgic and personal, and I did not think that it wasn't by a random chance that you, Tanner, from Houston, Texas, complete stranger, happens to reach out because you see my video that I posted, that I posted because my wife encouraged me to before I got all my ducks in a row because I didn't really need to. Like the domino effect when you like look back, it's like, how could this be coincidence? This is what it, and that's why I felt so confident. Like, no, this is what it's going to be, and just how how it eventually, tied in to everything, and that the album starts with, from God's perspective, "Come all you weary and heavy laden, like lay down your burdens." Like, what a great way to start a peaceful album. Also, the fact that the instrumentation on it is like the most chill and peaceful. And then you've got these other songs, and then at the very end, you've got "From God's Perspective" again. And I was super pumped that my wife was able to sing the last words that you hear, with you, with you. It's just so cool. And then remind me, Tanner, how did we get to those other two songs that we ended up adding into that batch of 5?
Yeah, so we were talking about the idea of "With Us," and we just started like going back and forth on it. And then you were like, "Well, what if these kind of were all strung together?" And I think it was I think a separate "what if" conversation. Like you went out to like a lake for a couple of days or something. We had that conversation on your way, and then when you came back, we were talking again, and you were like, "I was thinking," and you're like, "What if the entire record was strung together, not just with a theme, but musically?" Which is funny because in our initial like one of these that we had back in probably April, we were like, well, trying to like figure out who each other were, and we're like, well, what kind of music do you like to listen to? Like, well, we both were like, oh, we always used to love "Me Without You" is like one of the bands that we threw out. And "Me Without You" has a distinct characteristic about their records, is that it's just from start to finish, it's this journey. And so when you said that, I was like, that's the dream for me, is to create a piece of music that doesn't stop, that takes you from one place to the other, because that's really honestly the way I view song. That song is a journey. Like you are a different person after you get into and travel with wherever a song goes. And so whether you're hearing it or you're singing it or you're a part of a live performance of it, you begin as one person and with one experience and one, perspective. And then as you navigate your way through verses and choruses, as you take bridges, when that thing ends, you're a different human. And so to do that over the course of like an entire record, I was like so incredibly, again, felt this like feeling of gift, because you just basically took your foot and just like slammed on the gas pedal. And I was just like, okay. I thought we were getting out of the car. Like I thought the ride was over, and I unbuckled my seatbelt, and then you're just like, wah, and I just like buckled back in, and I'm like, let's do this. I think we probably could have wrapped this thing up and been done like in probably July.
Totally.
But I'm so grateful that you were like, there's more here. And that's why you're so gifted as a producer. Not simply because like you are a freaking master musician. The parts, anybody that, if you listened to this, all the things that made you feel something was Parke, not only like playing on one instrument, like, oh wow, that guy really makes you feel something when he plays the guitar, but like that guy makes you feel something when he plays the drums. That guy makes you feel something when he plays the keys, when he sings, when he programs, like everything that you added to it. So not only are you gifted in that, but you're gifted in identifying within the song, the artist, the project as a whole, the potential that's there. Like you're mining, you're uncovering something. I didn't know that there was precious metals under a bunch of the dirt that I had scattered about. So that's how we ended up with like what is now basically a 30-minute song essentially. And I'm grateful because Then there was another later conversation, and we're running out of time. So I have another question to ask you before we finish up. But
Sure.
there was another conversation that we had where once again you were like, Tanner, what if? And you said, what if this wasn't just music, but this was a visual album? And like you're doing some construction right now in your studio. You took what was like an 8-foot ceiling and you just blew it out, and it was like 12. And then I was like, this is great. It's so much more spacious. Like, this is what's popular right now. And then when you said that, it was like, let's just take the roof off. And so now it is what people just witnessed on YouTube, and which is going to exist for ever on YouTube, for people to just watch and jump in and enjoy. And hopefully it takes people somewhere else. The last like few days, just amidst this this release, I'm going to be totally honest and vulnerable and transparent right now and say that I have been like not very present, not very still, and it feels ironic and even antithetical that like I'm, promoting this record of like peace and stillness and rest, and yet I've got white knuckles over here and I'm just holding on for dear life. And but the reality that is for so many people right now, like that is where people live, in a heightened way since COVID started, in a heightened way with political issues, in a heightened way with tension and division, and all of the struggles of the left and the right, and racial injustices and all these different things have just left us like white knuckle hanging on. And I need this record to like play, slow down, take some deep breaths, and be a different person on the other side. So speaking of that, I'll use that to segue. Some kind of major things in both of our lives, I think, have happened since we started. And I know for me, there have been moments where I've like, dude, I didn't realize how much I need this song, not just with Maverick, but man, a lot of different things. I would come back to these songs, and I think working on them was really therapeutic for me because life has been chaotic, and just entropy is taking its toll upon like the world, and I've felt that in a very real way. But I wanted to ask you, what were some? Because I know you texted me a few times and were like, dude, we just listened to this, and this is how it made us feel, or whatever. So if you have any examples of that, if you even know what I'm talking about, because I felt like I was just rambling.
No, dude. Well, first off, thank you for the kind words. I truly felt like every step of the process with working on these songs with you was so easy, because what you had where you had brought the songs from the very beginning, at least to me. I know that you said earlier, like, I don't know what vision whatever you visioned, like I felt every time that I listened to one of the songs before we started working on it, and during the process of working on each song, I just felt like the path was laid out for us. So I want to applaud Tanner for writing some just rad songs. Like, yeah, they're scripture songs, but they're just really good songs. Like, melodies are out of control, if you ask me. So I just want the record to show that Tanner Smith is a force. And I know that this is not going to be the last project of this caliber that you do, whether or not we work together on another project again.
Oh, we're working together on another project.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like we will. So, I mean, one thing that happened, small thing in our world during the process of us working on it, my son was born, and a lot of emotions and a lot of reality happen and change pretty drastically, and also just haphazardly. You can't really see him coming from any direction. And I mean, big life change. I mean, first kid for anybody. Yeah, big life change. Pretty easy for anyone on the outside to be like, oh, you had your first kid. Immediately in their mind, something probably, clicks, and they visualize a calendar and they see several months before and after that birth date. And they're probably thinking like, oh, he doesn't have a life, or for a while. Or if he does, he's going to be a really tired man. Well, for us with Nehemiah, our son, is the bomb. And, there's
He's
been
a pretty special little dude.
He's awesome. Yeah, and there's been some sleepless nights, but so much about what we're slowly learning as very new parents, as it pertains to our beliefs and how we view God and how we see God viewing us as his children, it's all heightened to the nth degree when you have your first kid. And then to be like singing and working on songs that's all about God with us, and dwelling within us, and all of with, just it made everything like vastly more potent, all the lyrics and all the melodies, and it also, I feel like, pre and post Nehemiah's birth, I feel like it made a lot of things not just easier but like clearer to like, this is what we need to do, or even, I think, I'm trying to remember when, I forget the timeline. All I know is that during Isaiah 43, specifically the last tune, Nehemiah hadn't been born yet, but I just remember when Allie was in the music room, which currently I am in the room. At that point, my computer was on that wall.
Where the magic happened.
Where the magic happened, man. This was pre Brother Studio. It was Brother Studio 0.5. Never mind. But I remember her being in here, and we were, trying to come up with just a new melody or something at the end of the song. And that's how the record ends, is with her singing, with you, I'll always be. And I remember thinking about,
so good.
No one else knew Nehemiah's name. He hadn't been born yet. It was actually kind of crazy. Like, we didn't tell anybody his name until a couple hours before he was born, which we did a good job. Normally it's like you tell somebody.
I know, that's impressive.
Anybody. We didn't tell anybody.
Strong will right there.
But I just remember like hearing Allie sing on something I was producing for an artist that we had this cool connection, and that also our son was about to be born, and God is with all of us uniquely, but he's with all of us. Like, there's this uniting thing that happens, as well as a very deeply personal, unique thing for each of us. And I just like, I don't even think I realized until this moment that was what was good. Like, that was the kind of thought going through my head. But because I just remember feeling very, honestly, euphoric, just because I feel like that's such a beautiful way to end the album sonically and thematically. And I don't know, like that. So anyway, tangent. That was a big life thing that happened for us. And then obviously, my band Colony House were ditched off the road because of the pandemic, and yet, if it weren't for that, I don't know when I would have posted anything about like, let's, to the world, hey, let's all make music together. And it's like, there's these silver lining moments. Not that I'm obviously not thankful for the pandemic itself. It's rough, but there are things that can happen that you can find in really dark times. And I feel like I'm going into preacher mode for a second, but like,
preach it, brother, come on.
It's when we have the like capacity and the guts to like dig deep into the really tough times that we're able to find. Yeah, it takes a lot of work and it sucks, but you're able to find some really cool things. That's how I end that thought. You're able to find some really cool things.
Some stuff.
Yeah. When the going gets tough, you find good stuff.
That's great. That rhymes. I'm gonna put that on like an old piece of barnwood and hang it on my wall above the bathroom, above the toilet, right below the piece of thing that says toilet paper is in the cupboard or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. To sum up, I mean, my biggest takeaway from working with you is that you're just a genuinely amazing person who loves the Lord and had no ulterior motive in making a scriptures album. Not to say that I'm calling anyone else out that did the same thing, but like it was a very pure process. And I think I saw that from the get-go, and I was like, there's not a lot of purity happening in the world right now. There's not a lot of peace, which, you know, that was the biggest kind of emotion that you wanted to convey. Not a lot of peace, not a lot of purity. Probably would be good to work on something like that. In addition to already feeling like, okay, this guy seems really cool. And then hearing the demos and being like, confirmed, he's cool and he writes good stuff. So it's just like, I don't know. It's easy for me to say, it would be easy for me to say, this was a fluke. But it wasn't. And I'm just really grateful that I got to be a part of this whole process with you, man.
Yeah, that's so kind. Thank you for saying that. All that. I cannot overstate the fact that like I went into this thinking that you were gonna like help me make some songs and do me a huge favor by like not charging me an arm and a leg, and we were gonna like shake hands and walk away. And I had no clue that like I was totally gaining a brother. And I just feel really honored by you and Allie. I mean, when you sent me that demo of her singing that melody, it changed things for me, you know? And the countless number of times that you texted me saying like, oh, Allie and I just literally listened to that song we were just crying. Like that showed me, I think there's a level as an artist, there's a level like when you make something, you're like, I feel this, but I don't know if anybody else is ever going to feel this, or if it's going to do something for them like it would do something for me. And so the fact that it meant something to you guys was honestly what kept me going. Because there were a lot of times I don't think I ever told you this, but I was like, I'm done. Not because of anything other than just like my own insecurities of like, I just don't know if this is going to, you know, work, or if people are going to like this, or, I mean, all that crap that we think about. But when you would text me and just be like, dude, these songs mean something to us. Like it honestly changed everything for me. And I think to your point about just raising kids and what that does to our perspective of God being with us. There's a book that I read to my kiddos at night, and it's called The Garden, the Curtain, and the Cross. And it's just basically the gospel story illustrated for children. And there's this line that says something to the effect of that God did everything just to be with us. And every time I read that out loud to my kids, there's something magical that happens inside of me where I realize like this feeling that I feel towards my kids that I'm reading this to, that I don't care if they perform well. I don't care if they achieve great things. I don't care if they amount to whatever a parent would hope. I enjoy them. I delight in them. I want to be with them. And then to think about the fact that like I'm reading that to them while the Father is sitting on the bed next to me. He feels the same thing towards them, but he also feels the same exact thing towards me. So much so that God Almighty, who sits on his throne, rules over all of creation, says, you know, I'm going to give up my life because I want to be with you. And then says, I'm going to change my address when it's all said and done. I'm going to come and set up my tabernacle with men. I will dwell with you. You will dwell with me. And for all of eternity, like I get to be with you. And I can get on board with the truth that like God is big and holy and mighty and creates stuff. But that truth, because I know me and I know the broken world that we live in, but that truth that like, that's his big goal. That's the grand finale, you know, is like, I get to be with Parke. I get to be with Tanner. Yeah. So thanks for being my partner in crime, my co-conspirator, my adventure buddy through all this, for keeping me out from being eaten by a bear in the woods. And speaking of which, I will end this by brother to brother. Would you just tell the world a little bit about what's coming from you, from the studio that you're building? I mean, I can't wait to be a part of it again in the near future, but there are people who are watching this now or who will watch this in the future when it archives, and who are going to be like, I have a few songs, I don't know what to do with them. So tell us that, and then we'll say goodbye to all of our friends on here. By the way, before you say that, just want to give a shout out to some people who have hung in there with us. My good friends Danny D and Amy. Allie's been on here a bunch. I see my homeboy Chris, and Tasty. He plays with you guys, huh?
Oh, Tasty was on here?
Yeah, he was on here.
Oh, dang, I missed it.
And I've been reading, as we've been talking, I've been reading comments, and to just how you guys have connected with the songs. Amy just said, for someone who can struggle with anxiety or fear, knowing that God is with us and wants to be with us is the ultimate soothing balm. And that's it, man. That's the money. Dang. And so anyways, just thank you guys for chiming in. You have not been ignored, and it's been fodder for our conversation, even if you didn't know it. And then as well on YouTube, just read a comment from a good friend of mine who said the song really spoke to me. Miss Karen, she said, I listened to the album 3 times uninterrupted this morning. It's evident listening to the story that God brought the two of you together to lead us on this journey. So that's pretty cool, Parke. I don't know about you. And then Kendra says, whose beautiful house is this? Thanks for just blowing my cover this whole time. These people have thought this is my house. Props to the Bates for letting me use their home, not only in this conversation, but also on the record. If you saw that, my house, there would have been toys everywhere. I have 3 little children. So grateful for their gift of hospitality. Speaking of which, tell me about Brother Studios, my man.
Dude, well, it's an honor to have done this. Wow, I just did this, and I was like, is that going to freak people out? Is that
they're like, oh God, touch me.
Optical illusion. Thanks for this has been awesome.
Yeah, it has. Again,
Tanner, you're the freaking real deal, and we will work together in the future. So I'm pumped for whatever and whenever that is. So yeah, this room that I'm in, which is a tiny little like 10 by 10 spare bedroom, which will be Nehemiah's bedroom, nursery, as soon as Brother Studio is completed in the backyard. Everything that, all the extra instrumentation that I added in this tiny little room. So it's really fun to be able to like have a project out there. And it's also Brent Bechtel, Beach Vibes at Slow Tide Sounds, who mixed the record, and Sam at Moses Mastering. They did a killer job. And specifically with Brent, he was able to make, because, I was doing my best. I did my best in this spare bedroom. Some of the sounds I made sound cool, and a lot of them Brent made sound cool. So
mine as well.
Brent.
We're both tracking in bedrooms with conditions that should not sound as good as they did.
So what's to come for me is building a 12 by 20, building out this 12 by 20 shed, outfitting it to be a little bit better than a 10 by 10 room. And it's just going to be, very simply what that video that I posted, whenever that was in April, about collaborating with people. It's just an extension of that, except now I'm going to be able to have a dedicated space that is away from the house and can work not with my dog, who is very needy. I love my dog Coco, but usually when Allie's out of the house and I'm like working on music, all Coco wants to do is sit in my lap. And I'm sorry, like that just can't happen when I'm like tracking loud guitars or playing drums.
Yeah.
And there's also like, I've got a pretty big backyard, and it's back, like the studio is going to be back there. And there's something about like going to work, like you're not connected physically to, not that there's anything wrong with like me tracking a guitar part and then in between takes Allie's like, hey babe, I need you to do such and such. It's perfectly fine. However, it's going to be even more perfectly fine that I can see a text as opposed to, text, hey, after you're done with that take, I need you to come help. But there's just this, the separation is going to be very sweet. And it's also, we're going to be treating the room better. It's going to be like virtually soundproof. We're going to have my brother-in-law, Andrew, that's why it's called Brother Studio. Him and his band Gold Park, we're kind of pooling some gear. So like I've already upgraded like my computer and going to have some better gear to be able to make even cooler sounding stuff. So if you're watching this, like Tanner said, and you had some songs that you may or may not have thought that you wanted to like work on or have someone work on it with you,
hit my man up.
Hit me up. I mean, like, it's going to be like real soon, but like construction, it's actually crazy. The studio is supposed to be finished before September and we're on November 6th. Right. It just takes construction always takes longer, but especially during a pandemic when everyone and their mom is doing home renovation projects and the cost of materials quadrupled, I think is what they said, which doesn't help the bank account.
Unreal.
That don't matter though. Brother's going to be awesome. And it's going to just, well, I'm making it up as I go too. So like, there's no, what's the word? There's no precedent. No, literally, I'm making it up as I go. Just hit me up. Go follow the Brother Studios TN Instagram account, and
yeah, it's Brother Studios TN on Instagram. Follow it. Check out what cool things are coming. I'm all in on that, dude. I know that there's like a ton of incredible art coming out from people being stuck at home. It's funny how that works. And I'm sad that like music isn't traveling, but we're seeing a new era of collaboration from artists and a new era of creativity because people are just like, they're present, they have the time.
It's true.
So anyways, Brother Studios is up to very good things in the future. Y'all check them out. And let's work together again in the future, Park. The people want to see Coco now that you've talked with him, like multiple comments about people wanting to see Coco.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to abandon.
I'm like a little bit concerned that people weren't like, hey, you talked about Nehemiah. Like, we really want to see your kid. They're like, show us the dog.
YouTube people, I can't. Well, no, I can take you with me. Hold on. Let's do this.
Oh my gosh, we're going on a trip.
We're doing it. We're going on a
trip in our favorite rocket ship, zooming through
I can prop my phone up on my computer.
Bro, this whole time you've been holding it with your hand.
I know.
Just seeing some friends hop on here. Colony House fam, thanks for joining us.
You're also going to see my son and my wife. But here's Coco. Hey, Coke.
Check it out.
Can you see the blob on the couch?
I see the whole crew. This is the Cottrell crew. Allie, what's up? Nehemiah's sleeping.
Wow. Yeah. So Nehemiah's sleeping. Coco's kind of hard to see because she's like the blackest of black dogs, and it's they're trying to sleep.
Blackest of Black Dogs is definitely the next Led Zeppelin cover band. Please, for the love of all that is good and holy, let's start that band.
So good.
Cool. A couple quick shout outs. Thank you not only to Parke Cottrell and Allie Cottrell, but to Jillian Edwards, who sang on Psalm 27. Thank you to Brent at Slow Tide Sounds, Sam Moses at Moses Mastering. Thank you to Matt Curran and Curran Creative and all the dudes who came out with me across the state of Texas to shoot a bunch of footage. Thank you to my homeboy Jared Cohn in South Africa who designed. Oh, I wanted to say this really quick. Album artwork.
Yes.
I should have connected this earlier to what we're talking about. We were talking about like kids and present and all that different stuff. Take you back there for just a second. The album artwork is an illustrated baby, Maverick's actual profile, and then an adult. And this like journey of young to old and presence and children. And you had a son, and it's about my son. And there's so many things there. We could have spent the whole time talking about that. Anyways, great job, Jared. And also my buddy, Danny D, who helped like bring all that together into a presentable piece. Kendra, who took a bunch of photos for me, whose house I'm in right now. I don't know. I'm just grateful to everybody because this has been 100% a collaborative affair, and we'll talk more about that later on. But love you guys in the comments. Thanks for hanging out with us and just chilling this whole time. Grateful for y'all.
Awesome.
Parke, until next time. I mean, probably text you in a few minutes, but I got to say that for formality. So,
dude, it's been a pleasure. I'm so glad it's finally in the world. I literally was texting so many people this morning. I was like, "Hey, it's out. Hey, it's out. Hey, go listen to it. Hey,
oh, no way."
So I hope I hope that you're flooded with more than you were expecting, because you deserve it, man. This is beautiful.
That's really kind. Grateful for you, homie. Love you a lot.
Love you too, man.
Goodbye.
Adios, peoples.
This awkward moment where I don't know how to end the conversation and get off of the internet. I'm ending the stream. I've ended the stream. We're fine now.
Oh, cool.
Parke,